Hi guys, this is Kelly Robinson again. I would like to start off apologizing for the delay of my speech, and I hope some of you get to see it. I wanted to start off with letting you guys, seeing if you guys realize that there were almost 800,000 homeless individuals in the United States of America. I get this information from a source that is really long, unless I use the acronyms, which you guys won't know what that is. But I'm going to list it out, so get ready. It is from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development's annual Homeless Assessment Report, which is otherwise known as the U.S. HUD's 2014 AHAR. This report is submitted to Congress every year in November. In this speech, I'm going to inform you about the war on homelessness in the United States, in Texas, and also our local government just in the city of Amarillo. In my first point, I would like to discuss homelessness in the United States according to the United States 2014 AHAR that is reported to Congress. The United States has almost 600,000 homeless individuals and almost 70,000 families with a little over 200,000 members. 20,000 members, excuse me. 69% of the homeless accounted for 69% of them are accounted for at emergency shelters or transitional housing. The other 31% are found in unsheltered locations, such as in their cars, in under bridges, in alleys. There's many places not meant for habitation that people live in. We find new ones every year. I also found it interesting that the top 4 states that have the largest homeless populations did not surprise me, actually, and they probably won't surprise you either, but it's California, New York, Florida, and Texas. Of course, California had the largest homeless community, because they have, due to their population and above average weather conditions. Texas is right up there. We have a lot of homeless on our coast. Speaking of that, we're going to move on to the homeless statistics for the state of Texas. That will be my second point. According to the Texas Homeless Network's 2014 annual report, the state of Texas had almost 30,000 homeless individuals with over 9,000 homeless in families. Over 19,000 of these individuals are in shelters, but the remaining 9,000 are living in places, again, not for habitation, under bridges, in their cars, anywhere they can find to stay, out of the weather or under something. And this means that the state of Texas and our federal grant funding is paying for over 19,000 people to have a roof over their head and 2 meals a day. And a lot of them we feed and just don't house. They just come in for meals and they leave and find their own places to stay out that is certainly not meant for habitation. Also, according to the HUD's 2014 Continuum of Care Homeless Assistant Report, over 7,300 of the homeless population in the state of Texas has been diagnosed with some kind of mental illness. So that means 25% of our homeless population is mentally ill. I don't think you would find that surprising at all. I believe this number is probably much higher, but according all we can count in the state of Texas is if you have been diagnosed by a doctor with a mental illness. Well, I think we all know that our homeless do not have the capability to go get a diagnosis from a physician. It's a double-edged sword, because we can't help them if they're not diagnosed, and it's hard to get a diagnosis. Also, drug and alcohol. That's another one of a huge part of why we have a homeless in Texas, which I think mental illness and drug and alcohol abuse go hand in hand. One usually falls within the other somehow. Okay, so now that we've learned about the homeless population in the United States and in the state of Texas, I'd like to get a little more up close and personal and let you know about how it is in just the city of Amarillo. We have a wonderful community and great resources, but we still do have homeless in shelters and out on the streets. According to the 2014 Amarillo Homeless Management Information Systems Annual Report, which is the HMIS APR for the city of Amarillo, we counted 1,833 people to include 1,454 individuals and 119 families with 379 members. And keep in mind, this doesn't count doubled up households, 3 and 4 generations living in one household. We aren't allowed to count those. We're only allowed to count the ones that are checked into shelters or are literally living on the streets. In fact, in the city of Amarillo, in 2014, we do a point in time count once a year at the end of January, if the weather permits and it's nice. And last year, in January 2015, we counted 56 unsheltered people. And I know you guys probably think, I see them all the time, all around, there's got to be more than 56. The only way HUD allows us to count them is if we actually make comment and reach out to them and have some kind of outreach for them. We are not allowed to just drive down the road, drive down the road and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It just does not work that way when you're trying to get funding to help these folks. All right, enough about that, because that's what I do for a living, so it's really important to me. In conclusion, I would like to say that the homeless in the United States, Texas, and the city of Amarillo will probably never completely be resolved, but I would like our class to know that the majority of our homeless folks don't choose to be homeless. Everybody says, oh, they need to get up and go get a job. Oh, they need to, yes, there's always that, but that is a very, very minute group of folks. I promise you, I work with this day in and day out, and it means the whole world to me. And, sorry, I got off track. I do this all the time. Most of our folks is usually because it's the loss of a job, like I said, medical issue, or sometimes somebody just goes in the hospital and they have such a high medical bill, they lose their housing, they get all their utilities turned off, and so on and so on. It's a vicious, vicious circle. So I would also, to wrap this up, because I've gone on way too long, to let you guys know that you can find all this information at the Department of Housing and Urban Development's website at www.hud.gov. And also, you know what? I guess that's it. I really appreciate your time, and sorry it was so late. Thank you, guys.